All right. Good morning. Good morning, sports fans. How are we doing today? How are we doing today? Hopefully you had an absolutely fantastic Thanksgiving weekend. Been off since Wednesday. I know I did a couple of shorts. I had to, man. I had to. I have got so much stuff I want to go over today. There's a lot. There is a lot, but hopefully everything went well over the last 4 days, and hopefully you had some good food, and you had some fun, and you're able to hang out with family or friends, or just relaxed. It's not a bad option either. Not a bad option either. All right, so let's jump into how we're going to do things today, because we've got a lot to go over. And some of you may not have been able to see everything based off of what you were doing this weekend. So let's get into it, and we're going to treat this. We're going to treat this more like a, at least to start. We're going to treat this more like a Sports Center type setup here at the very beginning, and then we'll kind of move into something else. So let's jump into it. Number one. I want to talk about some of the head coaching stuff. There's a lot of stuff written down in this notebook now. And I mean, there's a lot written down in this notebook now. So something about college football that I believe is skipped over is the fact that very few, or I should say it's not as common for coordinators to move up. You normally only see the coordinators from bigger schools get the head coaching jobs. Obviously, Kellen DeBoer, he got a job. He was the offensive coordinator for IU with Michael Penix. He goes out to Washington. Penix follows him, and etc. But the reality is, there's a lot of good coaches, I think, sitting in the wayside. I really do. I think there are a lot of good coaches just sitting there off to the side. And now here's December 1st, conference championship weekend is upcoming. Okay? This is the trouble. And everybody knows this is the trouble. The trouble is we're going to be signing our recruiting classes this weekend. And I know Ryan Day said something about it, and a lot of the coaches agree. The calendar's absolute garbage. NCAA is trying to protect bowl games. That's what they're trying to do. So, let me get this set up here. There we go. Because they want to protect these bowl games. Now, I remember Bowl Mania. But I remember when it all was done at the beginning of January. You had January what? At the time it was January 5th, 6th, maybe 7th. Then it got moved back to the 8th. Then it got moved back. And now we're sitting at the end of January before the national champion is, crowned. And I think it's a real disservice to all the players right now. And I was watching all these hires because I'm trying to keep track of everything. And I woke up this morning and I saw like Kentucky, Mark Stoops is now available. I don't think he's going to stay. I think he will get hired pretty quickly. But I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay. So the reports say that Michigan State is going after the former Northwestern coach, Pat Fitzgerald. That's good. That's a good move. Kentucky fires Mark Stoops. I don't get this one. I don't get this one. But it's really going to make this interesting because all these jobs opened up because other coaches took them. So South Florida opens up now because Alex Golesh took another job. North Texas opened because their head coach took another job. UConn's open because Jim Mora Jr. took Colorado State. So you still have all these job openings, but the major ones, you still have Penn State. You still have UCLA, Michigan State, and to me, Kentucky ain't that bad. Kentucky's in the SEC. If they don't have a huge NIL, which we know they don't, if they don't have a huge NIL, it's hard to win. And we all know this. Yet we will still go after them for not being able to compete at the highest level. If you watch my shorts over the weekend, you'll know I was not impressed with the games on Saturday. Unfortunately, I was pumped. I was hoping rivalry weekend would make everything. I've actually got all my bets for Friday and Saturday in already. They're already placed. Got those locked in before. Got those locked in before they can change because I didn't want them to change at all. And I am pumped for conference championship weekend. I am absolutely pumped for conference championship weekend. I'll tell you what I hope happens. Okay, I'll tell you what I hope happens. This weekend, Texas Tech needs to beat BYU. It's what I hope happens because I don't want BYU winning causes some chaos, which normally I want. But the only way that BYU is going to make things easy is if BYU wins and Alabama loses. It's that simple. Why? Because Alabama's 10 and BYU is 11. I fully believe that a 12-1 BYU team deserves to be in over a 10-3 Alabama team. Just watch the games. Auburn let Alabama off the hook. Auburn played harder. Auburn played with more spirit than Alabama did in the Iron Bowl. And it really wasn't particularly close. It's one of the few good games over the weekend. Everybody was waiting for the Lane Kiffin announcement. Is he going to take the LSU job? Is he going to stay at Ole Miss? Well, it wasn't much of a question. I don't buy his reasoning whatsoever. He has a team that only has one loss that he is bailing on. I'm sorry. It's sickening. I'm sorry. You're 11-1. The school that gave you a job to be a head coach. You've been a mess. You've been a mess at so many other places. And I don't think he's man enough to admit that he just wants money. I really don't. And I don't think he wins with LSU. I think he will win. I don't think he wins with LSU. The NIL money may be there, but listen, the SEC is going to be after him. Everybody in the SEC is going to be after him. And he did it to himself. LSU does not have a head coach right now. I'm looking, Ole Miss hires their defensive coordinator, trying to salvage what is going to be a potentially deep playoff run. Ole Miss doesn't have their coach. Tulane doesn't have their coach, but yes, they actually do. The athletic director says, yeah, he's going to finish the season. They've got the championship game this weekend against North Texas. If they win that game, they're in the college football playoff. He will coach through whenever the season is done. And I love how that athletic director said, it's about trust. Sumrall was so transparent. He knew, everybody knew. Listen, you're at Tulane. You're at North Texas, okay? You get offered a job by Florida. Okay, Florida. The money's higher, first of all. Second of all, it's a huge, prestigious job. You've been at Tulane for a little while. You've had success. People want promotions in life. How often do you want? How often do you go to your boss and go, I need a little bit extra. I need you to bump me up here. I need you to give me a little bump here. We all want promotions in life. Nothing is wrong with it. For Lane Kiffin, though, to leave Ole Miss compared to Sumrall, who is leaving Tulane, those are two completely different situations. One is 11-1 in the SEC, going to the college football playoff, ranked higher than the other one, who is now taking a job in the SEC from the American Conference, has been straight transparent with everything that has gone on. I don't see Lane Kiffin making that. Kiffin understands what he did to the players. And, there's already the reports. He's going to try to coach the Ole Miss players. I don't think he should be allowed to. There's a difference, like when Kurt Signetti brings over the players from James Madison. IU stunk badly. But he brought in players, and the quarterback was not from James Madison. This year, the Cal transfer, not from James Madison. And he's recruited really well and used the guys that are there on the offensive line. And made them stronger. Aiden Fisher, D'Angelo Pons, amazing players on defense. You're taking kids potentially from Ole Miss to LSU. The defensive coordinator is going to try to stop that bleeding. And right now, I am happy the New Mexico coach, Jason Eck, got an extension. Missouri coach got an extension. Vanderbilt coach got an extension. Ryan Silverfield is leaving Memphis for Arkansas. Davita Pritchard, I don't understand this one quite as much. Andrew Luck went with an old-time friend to lead Stanford. I don't know about that one. That one I kind of question. Jamarcus Shepard is going to take over Oregon State. That's a coordinator. They got promoted. Jim Moore is going to leave UConn for Colorado State as they make the move to the Pac-12. And then Eric Morris is leaving North Texas to go to Oklahoma State. All right. So that's college. That's college. Let's get to everything else before we jump into the NFL. Here we go. All right. Major League Baseball news. I wanted to go over this because not a lot is happening, but the Blue Jays made a huge move, and so did the Red Sox. Blue Jays signed Dylan Cease, formerly with the Padres, to a 7-year, $210 million deal. I actually really liked that deal. That's not that bad of a deal. He has been one of the most consistent pitchers in Major League Baseball. I actually really, really like it. Then the Red Sox made a trade for Sonny Gray, the starting pitcher from the Cardinals. If he can stay healthy, if he can just work himself into the number 4 starter for the Red Sox, I think this is an outstanding trade to be able to solidify that rotation for the Boston Red Sox. And then closer Ryan Helsley signed a 2-year, $28 million deal with the Baltimore Orioles. That one's kind of weird. With the Baltimore Orioles. All right, looking at the NBA yesterday, it was really, really odd. So Houston beats up on Utah 129-101. Celtics came roaring out of the gates, beat up the Cavaliers 117-115. The Knicks beat the Raptors 116-94. The Atlanta Hawks in double overtime take down the Philadelphia 76ers. Oklahoma City Thunder kept rolling 123-115 over the Blazers. Timberwolves beat the Spurs 125-112. The Memphis Grizzlies beat the Kings 115-107. The Lakers beat the Pelicans 133-121. Tonight, we do have a pretty big slate tonight. Pacers do have 4 wins now. Hallelujah. Pacers do have 4 wins. And I am going to be looking forward to how this the beginning of this week is going to be. I do know that the injuries are piling up in the NBA. And I understand being careful early. Like I've said, I'm not going to jump on teams for being careful early on. You can't do it. You just can't do it. But I do like what I'm seeing out of a lot of these teams right now. The Hawks play really, really hard. The Heat play really, really hard. The Raptors are sitting 2.5 back. Detroit looks pretty gosh darn good. Not going to lie. Detroit plays a style of basketball that is hard to beat, but it's also very hard for them to keep up that effort on that level. So that's, is what it is. Is what it is. So let's get to the NFL. Let's go through this. I'm going to go through this Sports Center style. And then we'll go back and we'll talk about some of the games. I'm going to start with the Sunday games because most of you, I'm guessing, were able to watch or hear about what happened on Thursday and Friday. We'll comment on them here in a second. All right, here we go. On Sunday in the NFL, we had some interesting games. Number one, we had the San Francisco 49ers going to the Cleveland Browns. The 49ers needed a win, be able to keep pace in the NFC because it is getting really tight and really interesting for the wild card spots. More teams are in it now than were in it last week. They've got a legitimate shot. They needed to win, and they got it. They go over to Cleveland 26-8, knocking off the Cleveland Browns. Brock Purdy was 16-29, 168 yards with a touchdown. They ran for 91 yards on the ground 33 times. They couldn't do much. It really wasn't that they could do much. It was because Cleveland gave them a short field so often. It was special teams made a difference, and it was in the 49ers' favor, which is shocking because that doesn't normally happen. Shedeur Sanders was 16-25 for 149 yards, a touchdown, no picks. Quinshon Judkins keeps running well. As a team, they ran the ball 31 times for 138 yards. Shedeur Sanders, when you watch, it just doesn't go far enough. The amount of balls that drop down in the dirt are a lot. Brock Purdy was sacked. None other than Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett now with 19 sacks on the year, and he's still got 5 games. He will break the record. Even if he gets one, he will break the record. And he should. He fully deserves to. 100%. All right, the Jacksonville Jaguars go into Tennessee and whoop up on the Titans badly. Jaguars win the game 25-3. Trevor Lawrence, 16-27, 229 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was sacked 3 times. They could not get the ground game going at all. 27 rushes for 70 yards. Jakobi Meyers, 6 receptions, 90 yards, and a touchdown. Brian Thomas was back. He had 3 targets, 2 catches for 28 yards. Actually, I was really, really excited about it because the Titans worked on covering Thomas. And on Jakobi Meyers' 50-yard catch, Thomas threw the biggest block. Thomas looked good. He's going to work in. That offense, a little bit scary. They got the game against the Colts this week. Tony Pollard ran the ball 10 times for 60 yards. Cam Ward was 24-38, 141. It's just, they need receiver help. They just need receiver help. It was bad. But Jacksonville gets the big win, 25-3. They were then watching for what the result of the game was going to be in Indianapolis, where the Texans played the Colts. And the defense, again, stymied everything. The Texans come to Indianapolis, knock off the Colts 20-16. C.J. Stroud, first game back from the concussion, 22-35, 276 yards, no touchdowns, 1 pick, was sacked twice. They ran the ball on the ground, though, 34 times, 108 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, a gorgeous wide receiver reverse for a touchdown by Nico Collins. Probably one of the most, that was the play call that nobody saw coming, and it was perfectly timed. The Indianapolis Colts are reeling. Say what you want, they are reeling. Losses to Pittsburgh, Kansas City, and now the Texans at home. I said it. In a dome, the Texans don't have anything I'm not scared of because they're not outside. Listen, they're going to Kansas City next week. They probably won't look the same. I'm not saying they're going to look bad. I'm saying they probably won't look the same. Daniel Jones was 14-27, 201 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Jonathan Taylor ran the ball 21 times for 85 yards on the ground, averaging exactly 4 yards a carry. 287 total yards of offense. 287 yards of total offense. So, you put everything together. you got outgained by over 100 yards again. Because the Houston Texans had 384 yards of offense. That basically just says it all. Basically says it all. Nico Collins, 5 receptions. Jade Higgins, 5 receptions. Dalton Schultz, 7 receptions. C.J. Stroud looked pretty good. Little bit of rust. First game back. There was no doubt. You know what? They still won. And they won it. They won the way they needed to. 20-16, Texans beat the Colts. Down in Miami, I thought this game was going to be a blowout. The Saints need to be given credit. They are playing outrageously hard. And Tua Tagovailoa almost gave them the football game. It was wild how this game played out. The New Orleans Saints lose 21-17. They recover an onside kick because the Miami players are stupid. And had a shot to be able to win the football game. Didn't necessarily like the play calls to close out the game, but Miami escapes with a 21-17 victory. Tyler was listen, he wasn't bad. 26 of 38, 239 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was sacked 4 times. They ran the ball 27 times on the ground for 81 yards. Now, Miami shredded them on the ground. Achane, oh my gosh, 22 carries, 134 yards, and a touchdown. He was unstoppable. As a team, they ran the ball 32 times for 164 yards, which was good because Tua Tagovailoa was 12 of 23, 157 yards, an interception, sacked 4 times. It was just bad. It was just bad. But Miami escapes with a win. The Saints' draft position gets helped. And you're wondering, how? Well, it's because the New York Jets, also my pick of the weekend. I was 6-0 this weekend. Was thrilled with my picks. Went 6-0 with my picks. Jets now are 3-9. They beat the Falcons yesterday after Kirk Cousins couldn't engineer a field goal winning drive. Jets get the ball back. Tyrod Taylor gets them just close enough, and they even tried to screw it up. The Jets got in their own way so much yesterday, it was basically comical. It really was. It was really comical. And the Jets played tough. Tyrod Taylor, 19 of 33, 172 yards in the rain, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, sacked twice. Breece Hall, Tyrod Taylor, 28 carries between the two of them, 110 yards and 2 touchdowns. Not too shabby. Bijan Robinson had a huge day, 23 carries, 142 yards, and a touchdown. Kirk Cousins, 21 of 33, 234 yards, a touchdown, no picks. He was sacked twice. The reality is, I just felt that outside the Falcons weren't going to be able to do anything. This is the type of game you've got to be able to win, and the Falcons have not been able to do it all year. The Rams, who own the Falcons pick, their draft position kind of got helped from a lot of stuff that happened yesterday. The Jets are now 3-9, worsening their draft position. Mendoza isn't going to the Jets, I don't think. I don't think Mendoza's going to the Jets. But I'll tell you what. He may be going to the Rams after how badly Stafford stunk up the joint yesterday. In one of the wildest, I did not see this coming. In one of the wildest games yesterday, the Panthers beat the Rams 31-28. Bryce Young, 15 of 20. 15 of 20? I mean, good gosh. 206 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. The Panthers ran the ball 40 times for 164 yards. 40 times! Good grief. Tetairoa McMillan was only targeted twice. He had 1 catch. It was for 43 yards and a touchdown. Guys, watching that game yesterday, I actually questioned, and I've done this before, I questioned Sean McVay and what he was doing. The Rams ran the ball 21 times for 152 yards. 21 times, 152 yards, averaging 7.2 yards a carry. And instead of pounding the rock and winning the football game, he wanted to throw the dang ball, and Stafford had 2 interceptions and a fumble, a lost fumble, 3 turnovers. And that's why the Rams lost. You lose the turnover battle 3-0, you're probably going to lose. Don't look now. The Panthers are 7-6. The Rams are now 9-3 because and now the Bears have the number 1 spot in the NFC. This is awesome. How the crap is Chicago number 1 in the NFC? Gotta love football. You gotta love football. The Rams are probably going to want Fernando Mendoza. And I think they're going to really be after Mendoza, especially if Stafford stinks it up like he did there in the playoffs. They'll trade him, get a pick out of him, and they'll draft Mendoza. And I think they should. I'm sorry. That game yesterday, Sean McVay is going to know you need to run the ball with a rookie quarterback. Kyren Williams averaged 5.5. Blake Corum averaged 11.6. I'm going to give him credit. He played pretty decent as well. And you didn't stay on the ground. You should have ran the ball 30 times for over 200 yards. I'm sorry. That one, McVay screwed it up just as much as Stafford did. All right. Big game. Big game because Carolina won. Tampa Bay Buccaneers held on and beat the Cardinals 20-17. Jacoby Brissett, 29 of 40, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was sacked twice. They actually weren't bad on the ground. 19 carries, 95 yards for the Arizona Cardinals. Bucky Irving was back. You could tell he was missed. He scored his touchdown. The excitement was absolutely amazing. He is the number 1 running back in Tampa Bay, no doubt. Baker Mayfield, he was okay. He didn't make any big mistakes, and that was what's key. 18 of 28, 194 yards, 1 touchdown, sacked twice. On the ground, they ran the ball 27 times for 95 yards. The offense is stalling out. The offense isn't great, but their schedule's easy enough. They should be able to win a lot of the game. The Panther games, though, I don't know. The Panther games, if the Panthers can run, the Cardinals average 5 yards a carry on the ground. If the Panthers can run the ball, they just beat the Rams. You can't tell me I'm crazy for thinking the Panthers can beat the Buccaneers. Did you see the defense that played last week? Have you seen the Panther defense? They're feisty, especially in Carolina. Don't hand that division to Tampa Bay. I can't believe the Panthers are there. Dave Canales deserves a bunch of credit. If the Panthers win the NFC South, somehow, if they win the NFC South, Dave Canales deserves Coach of the Year. I know what Vrabel's doing in New England. I know what Ben Johnson's doing. Those 2 organizations, though, spent a lot of money and listened immediately. Dan Morgan and Canales did not have that type of ability and are building a playoff contender with Bryce Young as quarterback. That's outrageously impressive. Outrageously impressive. All right, an afternoon game that was absolutely garbage. Seattle beats Minnesota. I got this right. I picked Seattle to win by 20 or more. They did. They won 26-0 over the Vikings. Max Brosmer starting for the injured McCarthy and Carson Wentz. No touchdowns. 4 interceptions. Sacked 4 times, was 19 of 30, 126 yards. Ground game, 16 carries, 66 yards. For the Seahawks, it wasn't great. Darnold was sacked 4 times. No touchdowns, no picks, 128 passing yards, and 125 rushing yards. This was really, it was just defense. It really was just defense. I mean, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. The Ernest Jones had 2 interceptions. One of them returned for a touchdown. Rick Woolen had an interception, and Kobe Bryant had a interception as well. Seattle just destroyed them. 26-0. Minnesota now keeps dropping down in the draft order. The Raiders went to play the Chargers, and it wasn't their worst showing of the year, but Geno Smith got sacked 5 times again. Ashton Genty ran the ball 15 times for 31 yards. That offensive line cannot give him any room. He caught 6 passes out of the backfield for 30 yards, though. He is going to be really good if he gets an offensive line. Like, really good. Justin Herbert injured his hand, his non-throwing hand, isn't expected to miss time. He was 15 of 20, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, sacked 3 times. Kamani Vidal, Omarion Hampton didn't end up starting. Vidal gets another start, made the most of it. As a team, they ran the ball 43 times, 192 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Chargers get the victory, 31-14 to keep pace in the AFC, which is good because Buffalo went into Pittsburgh and beat up on the Steelers. Buffalo was without both offensive tackles, Deion Dawkins and Spencer Brown. Josh Allen, 15 of 23, 123 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, was never sacked. On the ground, 51 rushes, 249 yards, and a touchdown for the Buffalo Bills. Joe Brady. That's how you win for Buffalo. Ryan Davis, Josh Allen, James Cook. Cook was beautiful yesterday, 32 carries, 144 yards. He was also the leading receiver out of the backfield, 3 receptions, 33 yards. Cook had a fantastic game. That is how you do it. That is how you win. For the Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, 10 of 21, 117 yards. He was sacked. Mason Rudolph, 0 for 3 with an interception. They ran the ball 18 times for only 58 yards. Wasn't great by Pittsburgh. Obviously wasn't great by Pittsburgh. All right. Now let's get to last night's game. The game that almost screwed up my 6-0. So, you guys know, I've told you this. I bet what I pick. So yesterday, I picked Miami over New Orleans. I picked Houston over the Colts, the Jets over the Falcons, Bills over the Steelers. Hang on. I'm missing one. I am missing one. I already posted it in my Discord because I was kind of excited. So, Jags over the Titans. And then I took the Broncos over the Commanders last night. Well, I was nervous. I was very nervous watching that game last night. I was really afraid that they were going to screw up the chance of keeping the number 1 seed in the AFC. I thought the Broncos were going to just screw it. I really did. I was worried about it. You could tell how tired the teams were. You could tell the exhaustion that was setting in. They both teams played their hearts out. And I fully support Dan Quinn going for 2. Actually, my oldest was watching the game with me. And I looked at him and I go, they're going to go for 2 if they get this touchdown. Now, that was, way early in the drive, like probably the second or third play. I looked at him, I said, this game is either going to end up Broncos winning or Commanders winning. And he goes, but if they score a touchdown and kick it, they'll be tied. I said, they won't kick it. The Commanders can go for broke. They had the right play call. It took a great play by Nick Bonitto to save Denver from being another upset team. 7 upsets this weekend, according to Vegas. 7 upsets this weekend. Absolutely fantastic. I got Cincinnati right. Dallas, I thought Dallas could beat Kansas City. That was right. I did not think the Packers would beat the Lions. I thought the Lions would come out stronger. St. Brown going down definitely hurt. Williams stepped up, though. The Lions are in trouble now. Kind of, sort of, like the Bears are in control right now. And this is going to get interesting. The Lions could miss the playoffs. I can't believe I'm saying that. They can. Thursday night will be huge. But the Broncos, in overtime, after stopping the 2-point conversion attempt, beat the Washington Commanders 27-26. Wow. 29 of 45, 321 yards for Bo Nix, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He was sacked once. R.J. Harvey had 2 rushing touchdowns on the ground. They still don't have a running game, and I think, for me, that's the problem. Because if it starts snowing, this top-rated offensive line, again, when it comes to pass protection, will be nothing in the snow. I don't think Denver has a running game that can win in January. That's my thought. They've got a defense that can win anytime, anywhere. I mean, for God's sakes, Marcus Mariota threw the ball 50 times for 294 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick, was sacked twice. They ran the ball decent, 33 rushes, 143 yards. But the Broncos just make those timely plays. Singleton punching the ball out of Ertz's hands on a gorgeous seam route. Great defense. The tackle by Riley Moss on Deebo Samuel, not giving up the easy touchdown. Not giving it up. Forced the Commanders to have to work to get into the end zone. Nick Bonitto figuring out after the entire game how on one play to make the impact and knock the ball down when Marcus Mariota threw it. I think Mariota should get a starting job in the NFL. I think he has played himself into one. 150% believe he could be a decent veteran starter in the NFL. The Raiders would love to have him over Geno Smith. There's no doubt about that. His escapability is much better. And listen, we'll see what happens. The plot thickens because the backup QBs could end up reigning supreme. All right. We're at 10 minutes. Okay, so let's talk about some of the standings now. Because this is awesome. This is awesome. Geez. All right. So, in the AFC, here are the current standings. The Broncos and Patriots are both 10-2, but the Patriots play tonight. Their bye week is next week. Patriots are off next week, so they're going to play Monday Night Football. and then they have their bye week. Jacksonville Jaguars are now sitting third. And I told you, I love how people are still like, do you really believe in Jacksonville? Yeah. Jacoby Myers fits. Brian Thomas Jr.'s back. They got 2 running backs. They got their tight end back. Yeah. I kind of believe the Jaguars. There's no reason not to. Anyway, they're third. The Ravens are sitting fourth at 500. Ravens play the Steelers this upcoming week. The Chargers are fifth. Okay. The Colts are 6, and the Bills are 7. So those are your 7 playoff teams. And then lurking on the outside are the Texans now at 7-5, the Steelers and the Chiefs both at 6-6. I don't see Miami as a threat at 5-7, but it is worth noting that the Bengals are now 4-8, and they still play Baltimore again. They still play Baltimore again. Cincinnati is not out of it. Lamar Jackson is injured. The game against Pittsburgh could be ugly. It could be bad. Cincinnati has a game against Buffalo. There are so many fans around this country that would love for Buffalo to fall to Kansas City. This is weird. The Raiders and the Titans are both eliminated from playoff contention. The Browns are currently below the Jets. The head-to-head win percentage, the Jets beat the Browns. So right now, the Jets' draft position is a little bit worse. It's above the Browns now. Looking at the NFC, Bears are number 1. Yes, the Bears. The Bears are number 1. The Rams are number 2. The Eagles are 3. Bucks are 4. Then you have the Seahawks at 5. Packers at 6. Lions at 7. Their bye week is also this week. Lions are at 8. Cowboys at 9. Panthers at 10. Now, if you are Ram fans and you're hoping the draft pick for the Atlanta Falcons drops, currently they have the head-to-head percentage over the Minnesota Vikings. So the Minnesota Vikings need to win while the Falcons lose to be able to flip-flop that. The Arizona Cardinals are eliminated from playoff contention. Commanders technically are still alive because of their division, but they're out. And then the Saints and Giants are both at 2-10. When you look at everything all together, the draft order right now would be Tennessee, Giants, Saints, Raiders, Commanders, Browns, Jets. Now let me be very clear. With no offensive line, I do not like Mendoza to the Raiders either. Jets, I think it would be worse. I don't like Mendoza to the Raiders unless they spend money on the offensive line. A rookie quarterback needs Ashton Jeanty to be able to actually run the ball. He's got Brock Bowers. He's got Michael Mayer. He needs a receiver. That's obvious. That's overly obvious. But the reality is, the Jets, I think, could still win a couple games. They do play, remember I said they play the teams they're fighting with. And I believe one of them, they got the Dolphins this week. They could win that game. Tua's been bad. They could beat the Dolphins. Then they got at the Jaguars, and then they're at the Saints. So there are 2 games. For sure, the Jets could win. They could end up with a 5-win season. They end up with a 5-win season. You're not getting a top 5 pick in the draft. Sorry. So, I've been playing with the playoff machine a lot. We'll do it a little bit more tomorrow. But there are some crazy scenarios here. The Bengals can make it in and be below 500. I had a scenario yesterday where both the Bengals and who was it? I think the Bucks were 9-8, the Bengals were 8-9, and both won their divisions and made the playoffs. It could get really interesting. I love it. I love it. What I'm sad about is that college football is already in the conference championship game, so this week is going to be one of the last weeks I really talk about college football in great detail outside of head coaching stuff and drafts because, well, there won't be any reason to. So we are basically down to NFL, NBA, and some baseball news here until we close, until we close out the NFL season. I can't believe it's gone by this quick. I cannot believe it. 14 weeks of the college football season is over. I can't believe I've been doing this podcast this way for 14 weeks. I mean, I remember doing the original announcement short that I sent out. I can't believe it's been that long. So we'll see what happens. But it was a wild weekend. 6-0 in my picks. It was a good weekend. Won some money, and Sunday was definitely better than the college football weekend, no doubt about that. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. All right, guys, it's another week. It is December 1st. Don't be mad. Don't be mad. Listen, it was cold over here this weekend. We had some of the snow. Hopefully all of you are safe. You were able to travel safely and travel well. As always, I deeply appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much for hanging out on this beautiful Monday morning. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. We got a lot of updates. I'm sure more stuff for college is going to come into play. Injury news is going to come out. And we're going to start looking ahead, and we're going to dive into some other sports a little bit deeper since we got college football basically on the side. So we'll get into that as we start making the transition into the winter sports. Thank you so much for hanging out. Hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. Hope you had a great weekend. And listen, it's Monday, but make it the best Monday that you can. And until next time, for Sports Talk with Hawk, I am Hawk, and I'm out. Have a great day.